Hey everyone, it's Louisa Tunnemunson. Welcome to this quick July update, wherever you are in the world. I hope your day is starting in a beautiful way. So this is the full moon day, and as such, you may well have already started feeling the tension rising, especially because it is quite an archetypal and quite an important full moon. So what happens when we've got the full moon? What happens is we have the moon in an opposite sign to where the sun is. So right now, we have the sun is in the sign of Cancer, and the moon, as of today, is in the sign of Capricorn, and it goes exactly 180 degrees away from each other. Now, with our astrology pairs of signs, we have an interesting polarity to explore. Now, the polarity between Cancer and Capricorn is absolutely it's like light versus dark in my opinion. And now not all astrologers would agree with that, but the sign of Cancer is all about family and connectedness and togetherness. And it's about our family narrative. It's about our it's about our genealogy, our ancestry and our descendants. It's about love and compassion and kindness. And it's about the protection that we put around it. And then the sign of Capricorn just seems to be like the polar opposite. You know, it's very much about reputation, achievement. It's about our money and our drive to succeed. And it's very disconnected. It's a very, very different attitude. And so what we've got today is the full moon. We are being stretched across these two polarities. But of course, what I'm going to do is actually just bring the screen up so you can see, and I'll demonstrate how that's playing out, because there's some other things going on. As you may already know, I quite like to look at a few asteroids. All right, here, if you can see this, we've got the moon in Capricorn at 21 degrees, and we've got the sun in Cancer at 21 degrees. Now, this full moon, let me just tell you, it occurs at 7:15 p.m. That's UK time. We're in British summertime at the moment. So you will need to calculate where it's coming into effect where you are. If you want to find out where it is at or what time it occurs wherever you are, then go to timeanddate.com and go to the moon phases. I think it's sun and moon under the tabs, and it will tell you under moon phases. But anyway, here's what's going on as far as I can see. We've got like stuff is getting real. You know, if we had this kind of Star Wars theme in going on, we would have Darth Vader represented by Pluto down here. Pluto is really the villain of the piece. Pluto is showing us where we die, or showing us where control gets so much that there's absolutely nothing we can do. It's like outside factors squeezing us. You know how cars get crushed in those machines, you know, right at the end of their life. So like the Pluto energy is absolutely crushing. And I always find that the message for all of us at a time when Pluto is really, really strong, and that is to die to our ego. Or it's funny, I've just been recording a show with Rick Purcell called, you know, How Does Your Ego Serve Us? And actually, as we came towards the end, you know, our idea was actually not to kill it, but to release it and to integrate the darkness within us. So we've got this very, very strong oppressive energy going on called Pluto. And it's in a conjunction with the moon. What this means is at the time of today's full moon is our emotions are really strong. We are being very much driven by fear for our survival, because Pluto represents our fears for sure. And as such, we are really being driven by our ego. We are like the fear creates the ego. And then when we're playing out from our ego personalities, we're not playing with the full capacity of all of our human resources, you know, all of our beautiful resources like love, compassion, sharing, kindness, all of that. It goes out the window. When we're in a place of fear, we literally cannot pick up on those. And then on the other side of the screen, here we go, where the sun is, we've got Ceres. Now, Ceres is a dwarf planet, and she's also known as Demeter. So Ceres or Demeter, however you want to call her, she's essentially Mother Nature, or she is like the Great Mother. She is the cycles of time and the seasons. She is nature. She knows when all the seeds are going to be sown, when they're going to start to germinate, when the plants are coming up. She is the cycle of everything. And so you could say that she is kindness itself. She is love. She's love brought manifest. It's love manifest. It's the creation of life. So we've got the sun shining down on us. This is our basic personality, and kindness together, and nurturing and love and kind of bringing our offspring forwards. And on this other side, we've got this very strong feeling going on, based on fear and separation, and based on things being taken away. Now, in Greek mythology, Pluto is also known as Hades. And like I said, Ceres is also known as Demeter. And for those of you that know some mythology, you might know about the story of Demeter losing her daughter Persephone. Persephone was kidnapped by Hades and taken into the underworld. Well, that's one version of the story. So we have this idea that Ceres is above ground, she is nature, and then Pluto, or Hades, or the devil, you might want to call him, is underground. So again, we've got this idea of dark versus light. And actually, how the whole story resolves is Persephone, the daughter, because she ate the fruit of the dead, or the underworld, the pomegranate, because she ate half of the seeds, it was deemed that she needed to be the queen of the underworld for half of the year, and then she came above ground for the other half. Hence, we had the creation of the seasons, because Demeter lost her rag about this, the protective mummy. And so this protective mum became almost like a demonic mum, almost went into a rage. She was grieving, she was upset, she was angry, that her daughter was, she couldn't celebrate so much that her daughter was returning for 6 months, but her disbelief and her anger that her daughter was being removed for 6 months of the year brought on the seasons of autumn and winter. So that's how the mythology goes. Now, there's some interesting symbolism here, that what it is that is most prized for us, the thing that we love the most in our lives, is suddenly taken from us, is removed against our will. Now, there are other interpretations of this mythology, and one of them is that actually Persephone was too well looked after. She was too well attended to, and she wanted to come out of the control of her mum, and she wanted to experience life. And to experience life, you have to experience a little bit of disruption, and that Persephone was in her full waking consciousness when she went and entertained herself with Pluto or Hades or the devil's energy. And so it's fascinating. You could look at this from two different perspectives. So I'm just going to quickly check. There's no comments or questions coming in, so that's great. So I'm just going to carry on a little longer. Hey to all those people watching. I can see there's quite a few of you. Let us know if you do have a question. So we've got this idea that light is one way and dark is the other. And I think this full moon is actually showing us that it's no such thing. Ceres, who is the loving mum and nurturer, can also be the angry, vengeful, and grief-stricken mum, like the demonic feminine. And actually Pluto down here, who represents death and destruction, etc., can also be merciful. One of the things about Pluto is we've always known who he is, or the devil. He's never lied necessarily. We know that the devil is up to no good. So, we've got these ideas, these parallels, these polarities that are really being played out right now. And there's these phrases, these hackneyed phrases that we hear, like from dark to light and white hats versus black hats, this, that, and the other. But actually, what's really going on is we're realizing with the power of this full moon, we're in a phase of learning that we're actually quite dark ourselves. Even when we consider ourselves to be light, we have darkness. And sometimes the most dark things about us have brought about the most real experiences. So I would absolutely say, if you can avoid judgment at all costs during this time, you'll be doing yourself a massive favor, because you may well find that you need to apologize or kind of backtrack a little bit. from your whatever ego getting out of control with this fear and dictating what needs to happen. Now, I could put in asteroid Persephone, but you know what? Venus is a good stand-in. You know, Venus, the planet, is representing a young maiden or the feminine. So, you know, this could be Venus who was kidnapped. Now, Venus is in a conjunction with the descendant at the time of the full moon. The descendant represents our relationships and how we perceive the world through other people. You know, this bit here, the ascendant shows us where we are and where our boundaries are. And then Venus shows the collective other. And of course, we can only learn about life through observing what's going on with the other as well. So Venus here is showing that we're actually learning love through other people right now, whether we like it or not, whether we realize it or not. So we might be feeling triggered, but actually the other person in our control drama is there to show us love. And what's more, they're in the sign of Gemini, so they can be misconstrued. You know, the sign of Gemini is very much about polarity and polarity consciousness, but the Gemini mind is also very toddler-like. No offense to Geminis. It's an attitude. It's an attitude of innocence and beauty. Like, think of a butterfly flying from flower to flower to flower, or bees collecting pollen to make their honey. It's momentary. And so what you might find, you know, at the time of this full moon, that the tensions that are coming up for us are born out of us looking at other people and thinking, you say one thing and then you do another. You're into this and then you're into that. So there is this feeling that we can't trust what is going on around us because people don't appear to be trustworthy enough. But actually the message here is trust. You know, everything should be a momentary experience. And when we're holding on to an experience and expecting everyone else to do the same, we're not only stopping ourselves from living fully, but we're being an instrument of divisiveness in the lives of other people. So it's something to watch out for. Now, if you notice here, Venus is at 24 degrees. So she's actually in what's known as a semi-sextile to the sun. She's also in what's known as a quincunx to Pluto. So she's related to both the sun and Pluto. She's showing an interesting balance point, and it's one of creativity. So she's able to, you know, other people in your life at the time of this full moon are showing you how to be light without being sanctimonious. They're also showing you how to be dark without being an asshole. You know, we have these balances, these checks and balances. You don't have to be one thing or another. And in fact, the striving to be one thing or another is actually what's creating the great big mess that we're in. Now, Venus is also in a lovely trine with Saturn. Now, Saturn can be representative of the governments. And I don't tend to have too many great things to say about anything that controls everything. But look, that's my own resistance to what I perceive as evil. I've personified it as evil because I don't like it. So, hey, let me step away from that. But anyway, Pluto and Venus are in a trine, and they're trining up to the midheaven. We've got what's known as the grand trine, this lovely equilateral triangle. What this is actually showing is at the time of the full moon, we can... through observing other people being more natural and allowing their attention to be grabbed by what's in the moment, we can actually find a little bit more stability. I know that doesn't sound, it almost sounds counterintuitive, that by flitting from one thing to another, literally going from moment to moment to moment, we actually have more stability. And the reason being is we're dropping our personality. We are literally allowing our personality to just drop right down. This is the opportunity and the invitation of this full moon. And in doing so, we're able to realize more about who we really are, and we can really tune in and tap in to our intuition. So it's almost like drop the judgments of our personality, drop the fears that come up quite irrationally, that we really feel in our body. Just drop them, let them go, and live moment to moment, and you'll have a greater sense of stability represented by Saturn, and your self-expression, your feelings of achievement, your feelings of realization will just fall into play. So that's how I'm really seeing the full moon play out. Now, full moons are they are known as being a check and balance. If you work with in tune with the moon, which is a phrase that I believe my good friend Tom Evans coined. I love being in tune with the moon. I think it's great, and thank you for that, Tom. But the new moon is all about new starts. It's about starting from zero and our opportunities growing. And then we get to the full moon where everything is grown to its maximum. And then we have this release. We have this opportunity to release all that is no longer needed. And we let go of it and let go of it and let go of it until we get to the new moon again, where we have nothing and we start again. So we are in this phase of release. And in the phase of release, all of our emotions that have been collected over the last 2 weeks or years or lifetimes, everything culminates at the same time. So it's a full moon. We are carrying everything. We are carrying our baggage. We're carrying our words, our upsets. We're carrying whatever we're choosing to pick up in our egos. And our opportunity at the time of the full moon is to release it all, to let it go, and to unburden ourselves. So really from today, for the next 2 weeks until the next new moon, we are naturally in the phase of letting go, allowing things to rest and settle, and to disconnect and retract. So we are going into a retraction phase to release what is no longer needed for us. So just to sum up, if I was in your shoes right now, and this is what I will be doing later at the time of the full moon, which is at 7:37 UK Lisbon time, and I've already shared with you how you can find what time it is locally for you on timeanddate.com. Go to the moon and sun, or sun and moon phase tag, and then look at moon phases, and it will tell you. But anyway, at the time or leading up to the full moon, I will be in a space of reflection. I will be considering what I've held on to and what's no longer serving me. I will be thinking in terms of, like, is there any food and drink and stuff like that I've been looking at and eating and enjoying, and that's just not serving me. I'll be thinking in terms of tidying up my garden. So at the time of the full moon, it's a time to tidy up. So I'm weeding things out, things I don't need, I'm getting rid of. It's a time to tidy your home. It's a time to absolutely start to feel the sense of purity come back into your life. And so we're in this cleansing and detoxing and letting go phase. I can see we've got someone who's very connected to the moon. So morning, Louisa. I've been very connected to the moon lately. Yes, Owen Lloyd Martin, lovely friend, not far up the road from me. He's been taking these gorgeous photos of the moon. They're really, really wonderful. So I'm expecting to see probably a few more, actually, if the skies allow, Owen, given that it's the full moon tonight. I know you've been doing it the day before the full moon and probably the day after. Thank you for your beautiful photos, by the way, Owen. So yeah, it is a time for release. But just to sort of recap on the theme for this particular full moon, it is about letting go of your control, the controlling personality that has us believe we are being virtuous, and also the controlling part of our personality that arises from fear for survival. So where we're fearful and we go into this kind of fearful panic, we then become controlling. We try and control our environment. So look at both sides of these polar aspects of yourself and realize that they both lead to control. It's another ego trick. So this is your time to let go and to allow your own personality, like your true essence, to have the space to grow. So anyway, on that bombshell, I'm going to love you and leave you just before 20 minutes, which is what I was hoping. Have a great day. Have a great full moon. And please do let me know what you're releasing right now. Drop me a message. It's louisa.tannermunson@gmail.com, or you can connect with me on Facebook or comment on YouTube. And, I will get back around to you at some point. But I'm in full release mode, so I've got to get into the garden and tidy things up. But anyway, lots and lots of love to you. Thanks for joining me today. And hopefully we can connect again real soon. Whew. Bye for now.